This time I'd like to call to order the February 2007 Zoning Commission meeting. Let the record show that Mr. Mike Bardwell is absent. All of the commissioners are present. This time we're going to go ahead and open up the public comment period. Anyone wishing to come up and speak on any agenda item that is not up for public hearing, please come up, sign in with the secretary, and you'll get your 3 minutes to speak. Okay, no one wishing to speak. Let's see, item 4, acceptance of the minutes of the January 10th, 2006 meeting.
Make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve by Scott Courtwright.
Second.
Second by Don Grant. Is there any opposition or discussion? Motion passes. Item 5, public hearing to consider the following rezoning cases. 5A, zoning review ID 1657.07, a portion of a 37.86 acre tract of the Aurelius Abear property for Lance Roulette.
Good evening. My name is David Fazekas. I'm with Benchmark Group, LLC. Before we get started, I'd like to make one comment about something that Mr. Tom Place said earlier about y'all not caring about public welfare. We all know that that's not true, and we as professionals have to deal with the ordinances that y'all make to help protect the public. And although we professionals sometimes get frustrated, we also want to thank you because you do things that help protect us as well and limit our exposure. So from that standpoint, I'd like to say thank you. Moving on to the Roulette property. This is a portion of a 38-acre tract. What we are asking for is that the property be rezoned back to a pipeline which bisects the property. The front portion of it is already zoned mixed-use corridor commercial, and what we are asking for is a mixed use back to the pipeline. In that area, on the south side, we have commercial use. Up in the northwest corner of the property, it's already being used as commercial. We have a bank and medical clinic and park there. And we have large landowners on the north side that front on Henry Road. Some of those property owners are either large lots, and some of them do, in fact, use their homes as offices and some commercial use. And 48% of the property is already mixed-use corridor commercial, and what we're asking for is about 52% up to the pipeline to be rezoned.
Comments or questions from commissioners?
Where would your access be? Or would you this came out on the little service road on your line?
This is actually fronts on the service road.
So
yes,
is that where your entrance?
Yes, the entrance would be
on the service road.
And a lot of what is going to be determined by what is decided here. But we do we will work with the Department of Transportation, and at this time we just propose one access tying into the service road.
Is the house going to stay there that's on the property?
That's Uncle Lewis's house, and I'm afraid Uncle Lewis is going to have to relocate. So,
is there any intent to come back later to the commission to try and rezone the remainder of the property?
No, there is no. In fact, we have already had a wetlands delineation done on the property, and there are some wetlands issues that we have to deal with, and some engineering issues as far as the pipeline has created an obstacle for us. We already foresee that we're going to have to use 5 to 6 acres in the back for detention area, and that's what our use is now. And then around that detention area, we will probably do residential, but we don't have any plans for it at this time.
Any other comments or questions from commissioners?
Let me ask you, follow my math here. You said that how much of the percentage of the property is already commercial?
I'm sorry, do you have a copy of this map?
Yes.
Okay, if you see that 10.12 acres is already zoned mixed-use corridor, the area that is crosshatched is 11.79 acres. So of that area that between the pipeline and airline highway, which equates to about 21.8 acres, 10 acres of it is already mixed-use corridor, which equates to about 48% of the property that we're discussing.
Okay, and
Does that...
the balance of the property that's going to stay residential?
The balance of the property, which the pipeline takes up about 2.3 acres, which leaves us about 14 acres in the rear, which will remain residential.
Okay.
Just a comment.
Sure.
Wouldn't this be a good candidate or a good property for a SPUD? If it's going to be mixed residential and commercial.
Well, what we are hoping to do is we don't want to have to cross the pipeline with another access because of the difficulties in crossing a pipeline. What we are trying to do is negotiate another access to use the residential as a separate development. It doesn't work well to mix the commercial with the barrier of the pipeline and then go into residential. Plus, we're going to get a lot of objection, as you can imagine, to use a commercial portion as residential access.
Okay, just didn't know if you had
Sure.
thought about it.
No. Well, the mixed use was something that was recommended by the staff at Ascension Parish.
Any other comments or questions from commissioners? Then at this time, we'll open up the public hearing. Anyone wishing to come up and speak on this property, please sign in with the secretary, and you'll get your 3 minutes to speak.
My name's Jason Diaz, and I live adjacent property. And just for my information, exactly what is mixed use as compared to, what they're trying to convert it over to. As it is now, we have to listen to Ascension Parish Concrete every morning. They crank up about 4 o'clock. That's real loud. Is that going to be the same type of, commercial property that's going to be available?
Where exactly do you live?
I live on Henry Road.
On Henry Road,
Yes.
okay.
And
And
it's
you hear Ascension Parish
as it
Concrete
is,
in the
yes.
morning?
Bright and early, yes, ma'am. So I just wanted to know, is that the kind of commercial, business that's going to be available or be put on that
Well,
property?
right now, they haven't really gone into a description of the types of business, types of commercial that they're going to go into. I mean, all we've been told is create light commercial and office park. So I'm assuming some professional offices, something along those lines.
Yes, sir. A lot of it is contingent on what we decide here. Now, what we are negotiating with is medical park and small office park at this time. We've done sketches of preliminary design, but until we decide what we're going to do here, we haven't gone into it in detail.
I think the concrete business would be more of a light industrial.
Commercial,
usage.
the concrete would not be permitted in this district once
Right.
it gets changed. That would not be allowed.
Okay, I just didn't know exactly how much traffic and all that kind of stuff was going to be associated, and with the noise and all that. Kind of good stuff. All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. My name is Michael DePlussis. I live on the northeast side of his property on Henry Road. And really my question is concerning the pipeline, exactly how they plan on handling that as far as anything structurally or anything, because the pipeline also goes across my property and I can't even have a stationary fence. So I was just wondering exactly how that's going to be handled.
They shouldn't be able to build within the pipeline servitude.
So many feet, right.
Right.
And
Which I didn't really see. How much right-of-way is there, Dave,
for the pipeline,
for the pipeline?
Well, I know that it equates to about 2.4 acres. There is a 90-foot pipeline right-of-way and an adjacent 30-foot pipeline right-of-way. So we've got 120 feet total.
Okay. So,
And one of the questions that you brought up about the residential, that's one of the reasons why we're doing it the way we are, because we don't want to cross the pipeline any more than we have to. We know that we will probably have to cross the pipeline with drainage and with sewer, which presents some engineering obstacles. We don't want to have to cross it with a roadway at all. And when we go to the pipelines, they give us a 15-page description on exactly what we can and can't do in the pipeline, what we have to do to make sure that we don't damage the pipeline. They dictate how we have to cross it. We have to bridge across it. If we get into excavation, they have to be on hand constantly. So there are several things that they will tell us has to be done to cross the pipeline.
And I only have one other question or comment. I'd like to know exactly if they go with that and build on the front side, where they will have their waste treatment and excess runoff. Will that be going across the back of the property, or will that be handled self-contained on property, or how's that going to be handled? And the reason I ask this, several years ago they put a subdivision on the east side of me with a so-called servitude ditch, which wouldn't hold a thimbleful of water. Fortunately, I'm still higher than them, so it doesn't really affect me, but that's what I'm concerned about this time. Are we going to have some kind of backwater containment that holds a cup or two of water, or is it going to be something that's substantial?
actually, it's more of a planning issue, but if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think the drainage in this area goes toward Airline Highway.
Well, actually,
doesn't it?
There is a drainage ditch that is at the southeast corner of this property.
Okay.
And that's where the natural drainage goes. And we have already looked at it on a preliminary basis. Of course, we haven't done our drainage impact study yet, but we anticipate having to use 5 to 6 acres of detention in the back part of the property. There is on the adjacent property to the south of us an existing treatment plant, and what we would like to do is put our treatment plant next to that one on our property.
Okay.
Thank y'all for your time, and thank you for your answers.
Thank you, sir. Ms. June, anyone else?
Aaron?
Hi, my name is Erin Grow, and I live on Kirtley Avenue, which is the opposite side, I believe, from Henry Road from this property. I was just wondering if we can take a look at the map just to see if the area that's being rezoned actually backs up to our property. Can we see a copy of that?
The crosshatched area is the area we're interested in rezoning.
Okay. Actually, I think it doesn't even. So everything behind this, that's going to stay
remain
residential.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And this, of course, is the pipeline which creates the barrier between the two.
Okay. Good. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Comments or questions from commissioners at this time? David, is there any other comments that you've got your rebuttal time, which I think you kind of took.
I don't want to rebuttal if I don't have to, and I still have a wife waiting on me.
Yeah.
So unless there's any questions that I could help with, or be happy to let it go.
Okay.
Your wife will love that comment on the retake when she watches it.
Well, I'll still ask the question one more time. Any comments or questions from commissioners? What's the wish of the commission?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion to approve by Scott Courtwright, seconded by Alan Krause. Is there any, or Don? I wasn't looking. You sound like Don. Okay, by Don Grant. Is there any opposition or discussion? Motion passes. I see item 6, public hearing of a recommendation from the Parish Council. Council requests to reconsider ID 1631.06 for Kelly and Lisa Boudreau and change the request from mixed use to crossroad commercials.
Kelly Boudreau, the owner of the property. And I'm trying to get it done to where it's crossroad commercial. Get it rezoned.
Well, actually, I just want to make sure that I am clear on this. Are we actually going to reconsider this? Is it we're going to hold another public hearing on this tonight, or are we just considering the request from the council to hold a public hearing?
No, sir, this is a public hearing.
Okay, because I'm just reading the way this reads on the agenda. Comments or questions from commissioners?
Lance, what is the acreage of Crossroad Commercial from the corner?
Corner, acreage-wise, it's 660 feet from the intersection in each direction. It's a quarter of a mile across if you want to look at it like that. But from the intersection of 621 and 431, it's 660 feet going north, south, east, and west.
Okay.
And 100% of this property is outside of the existing zoning?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct. Yes, ma'am. And it borders the existing crossroad commercial zone designation.
What's the existing use of the property?
There's a home on the property.
Well, not so much a question, but I do have a comment I want to make. When the commission adopted the current zoning that we have, and we included mixed use and crossroad commercial, if I'm not mistaken, there were several planners or individuals in the planning arena that commended us for that because it was a step in the right direction. And when you're dealing with these intersections, this is where it can handle the greater densities as far as development. But I mean, eventually it's going to be saturated too. So 660 feet. You're talking about standing in the center of the intersection, and you're going 660 feet in all directions. And that covers a pretty good size of a property. So going out further than that is not necessarily a sign of good planning. And just because someone else's property that you're adjacent to has that classification is not necessarily good planning. Personally, I think the commission was right in the recommendation that it sent to the council. I mean, I understand, that you want to get your property rezoned. But honestly, I can't say that every request that we get is in the best interest overall, nor is it in keeping with the zoning plan that we had in mind to help the parish to develop. So we do have, this is going to be a public hearing, so if the commissioners have no questions, then I want to go ahead and open up the public hearing. Anyone wishing to come up and speak on this property, please come up, sign in with the secretary, and you'll have your 3 minutes to speak. No one wishing to speak. Okay. Comments, questions from commissioners?
Tell me a little bit about what's across the street from you.
Across the street's another resident.
Isn't there a gas station right there, right almost across the street from you?
Car wash that's direct.
Car wash.
Diagonal.
And to the right?
To the right, there's residential.
To the left?
There's retail center.
Retail center.
Isn't there a church?
Yeah.
How far away from you are the church?
One lot down. There's a lot in between us.
Okay.
So there's two houses. You have a church on one side, non-residential, and you have a strip center.
Right.
Do you have a copy of this?
No, I don't.
You can put it underneath that screen.
Point it out as he's asking you.
Slide it over just a bit. Put that in the center of the screen, if you would, please. There you go. There you go.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Julio. So we all.
So you have a car wash.
Yeah, here.
Okay. What's the big rectangular building that's
That's
across the street from right there, which is Quality Inn?
that's Cinema Decorating Center.
Quality Inn. Okay. So that's another commercial facility.
Right. There's probably 10 or 12 different little shops in there.
Okay.
Where's the church?
Yep. On this side.
Right next to it, right adjacent.
Right next to it. There's, I guess the green area is mine. Is that right?
No, the green area is not yours.
We're trying to rezone, I think.
That's
the church.
Oh, okay.
The church is right here. This is his property with the pond behind it, correct,
Right,
Mr.
right,
Boudreaux?
right.
And this is property that's already, it doesn't show, but there is an additional building that's right here.
The same size as
Same size. It's a mirror image of the one that's on this side is on this side.
But what's green falls outside of the
It falls
commercial.
right here. That's right. This is where the line changes right here, and it comes across it.
No, the green is inside.
That's right. The green is inside.
The green is still commercial?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that 600 feet?
Yeah,
to this
660
corner?
feet to this corner, right?
So
Why?
660.
is the highlight lance in the wrong place?
The highlighted land is in the wrong place. It's right here. This is his property.
Okay,
This is Mr.
so
Kelly's property right here. Right here.
That says a lot.
So that's what we're trying to rezone, is it that?
Right here. Yes, sir.
So it will be adjacent to the church when we rezone it?
No.
No.
Well, there is one
little
little stretch right here,
One narrow little strip.
and this is the church right here. And this is Mr. Kelly, and this is where Santa Maria Decorating. And there, like I said, this doesn't reflect that, but there's a building that's been built right here also. This from this.
What's up at the intersection, those four?
These are homes, rent houses.
Spec homes.
Rent houses, yes.
Across the street from the property being proposed to be rezoning, that's all residential, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
an empty lot where you
Okay, it's an empty lot. This is where the car wash is right here.
Okay, but if you go, what I'm looking at is going down. Yeah, where your pin is now, all that's residential?
Across the street, correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me see.
What did we do? We recommended.
Any other comments or questions from commissioners?
We went to medium intensity.
What's the recommendation of the council or commission?
I'm going to, in light of the fact that this is abutting a fairly intense, commercial use, and it's on the other side sandwiched to another non-residential, I'm going to recommend motion to recommend approval to Crossroad Commercial.
I have a motion to approve by Julio Dumas. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Paige Becknell. Any opposition or discussion?
I'm opposed.
I have one nay, Sherry Slyman. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Which means it goes to the council as a recommendation. You need to let him.
Item 7, public hearing to consider a neighborhood business overlay, zoning review ID 1658.07 for Excel.
Hi, my name is Dale Carbo. I'm here to seek approval for a restroom on our existing shop. If you have any questions.
Any comments or questions from commissioners at this time?
Do they have sewage on the piece of property now, or,
Yes, sir.
where you do?
Yes, sir.
Any comments or other questions from commissioners? At this time, we'll open up the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak, please come up, sign in with the secretary, and you will get your 3 minutes.
My name is Sherry Slyman. My husband and I own the property to the south of this property. And I really had some questions. I'd hoped to hear a little bit more about what they were proposing to do. As a homeowner, we were sent the letter, the notification letter, which said they wanted to add restrooms, and we certainly have no problem with that. I was also provided with some information, a plat, that shows 2 phases of improvements that are going to be done. And I wondered more about those. Phase 1 consists of the restroom, some privacy fencing, which would be good, landscaping, which would be good, relocating the perimeter fence. I wondered when that was going to be done, and new concrete entrances. So if the commission knows, is this just for the restroom, or is this for the whole first phase? For the first phase? Okay.
One thing we did do was move the concrete entrances into the first phase. I don't know if you have
It's on mine. Okay. Then, I guess the only comment that I would have, and I'm not here to bash anyone, okay?
This is interesting.
We've been through
But
the perimeter fencing is on the south side, closest to our property, plus it goes against the railroad track, which would be to the east side of the property. And there is a subdivision back there. And this is a little confusing because this property is grandfathered. So to me it's confusing because I don't know if I'm dealing with the non-conforming issues or if I'm dealing with the business park issues. So it's all a little bit confusing to me, and I'm sure Lance will be able to give me all the information.
Well, I know Lance will be able to give us all the information.
Okay. I do want to point out a couple of things. Let me use the overhead. Okay. This is, let me use a smaller map. This is the subdivision behind. The Slyman property comes about from here, somewhere over to about here, I think.
Could you speak into the microphone, please?
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
The Slyman property comes from about here to here. So these lots are pretty much all behind us. And then about from here to here, these properties back up to a railroad track. You can see this Kansas City railroad track. And then the XL property, XL or Bronco, which one? Okay, is here. So there is a 100-foot railroad track buffer between them and this subdivision. The XL facility has been cleaned up immensely. They're a much better neighbor than the previous tenant or the previous owner that was there, but it's still a very loud facility. And I just had a couple of, if they relocate this fence, I wondered about having it made into a wooden fence, a privacy fence. Maybe that would buffer some of the noise. There are some woods. Let me get my map. There are some woods over coming down this way, which is between us. It's kind of a drainage area, so there are some woods between us. But back here on the railroad track, they don't have a buffer. They have a distance, but there's not really any trees or anything to buffer them. So I would just ask if there was any way if that could be made into more of a privacy fence to help buffer the noise. And then I guess phase 2, they'll come back
Yes, ma'am. They will come back in phase
Okay.
two.
So then for phase two, I would just ask if they would consider something, since they are coming back anyway. I don't know how to zoom this thing out.
Hit the button on it, Ms. Sherry.
Zoom. Okay. Okay. Right now, when they come back, they're looking at putting office buildings over here, and this would be on the north side of the property adjacent to a business. And I would just ask if they could consider either putting that back here to buffer the subdivision, that's the east side of the property, or over here on the south side, which would buffer the residents of Swamp Road down this way. And that's just something I would ask them to consider before they come back. And I guess there's nothing that y'all have to decide on that. It's just asking them for some considerations.
Thank you. Sir?
What we intend to do is put up a wooden fence 8 foot across the front street of Swamp Road and put some hollies or some sort of something, nice landscaping across the front of it there to help beautify the front entrance a little bit. And what we're trying to do in the back storage area over here is respect your property and put some storage containers and to try to help buffer that noise. I will get with our people to talk about some sort of privacy fence if you would like. We can do that. We're not exactly sure if we're going to do the offices and storage yet. That's still something that we're discussing, and we may not even do that yet. So, but whatever we decide to do, we will come back before the commission for approval, and we'll take your options under advisement. Okay.
Other comments or questions from commissioners?
Lance? I would like to have a little bit more detail on the plan as to what the fence is going to look like, what the landscape is going to look like. That's not a requirement of the application.
No, sir. No. The thing is my stand is going to be any construction that occurs in this overlay district is going to come before you. And I don't care if it's an addition. I don't care what it is. Any construction that occurs in this overlay district, neighborhood overlay district, is going to come before the zoning commission for review.
Lance got a question for you. This is an overlay district. What's the underlying zoning?
The underlying zoning is business park.
It is business park.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There was, I think at one time, a question as far as or something. It may have just been in this part, another part of this area, whatever. As far as it was a medium intensity residential issue, I think, and expansion up to 50%. That's where I just wanted to make sure that everything was on the up and up with that. Okay. Other comments or questions from commissioners? What's the wishes of the commission?
These two concrete entrances are going to be constructed as part of these improvements?
Yes.
I'll move for approval of the expansion for the bathroom, provided those two concrete entrances are constructed prior to CO.
I have a motion to approve by Julio Dumas. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Alan Kraus. Any opposition or discussion? The motion passes. Item 8, public hearing to consider amending the development code table. Amend development code front setbacks. Mr. Parrington.
This is really a request from the Board of Adjustments, which I also represent. Probably the majority of the variances which come before the board are T turnarounds, cul-de-sacs, and corner lots where you have where there's always a request for reduction of the setback line. They're granted 99.999% of the time because it's essentially to keep in line with the rest of the lots in the subdivision. And on the corner lots, you have 2 setbacks, so we always grant one. So basically, we're just trying to do a little housekeeping here, and all it's going to do is amend the table so that I think you've got a copy of the ordinance, and they're asked that y'all please consider that.
Okay. Any comments or questions from commissioners?
Yeah, would this have anything to do with it being a sideline or a front yard line?
Well, it's just the front.
Just front.
Just the front.
But I guess in reality...
In a corner, you got 2 fronts, so they can use one or the other. They've got to have one or the other.
It's the narrows.
That's correct.
The front with the street after it.
What, O'Neill, just refresh my memory, what verbiage are we changing as far as the ordinance itself?
All we're doing is adding on the use tables. I think Lance provided a copy.
He provided a copy of the tables, and that's highlighted.
Yes.
With the ordinance.
What we're doing is the ordinance. To amend the table, we have to pass an ordinance.
Right.
So they're going to add footnote 3 to the table,
Okay.
which is going to say on lots fronting on turning circles, T-turnarounds, and street corners, the front yard may be reduced by 1/2 the required front yard. All we're doing is adding a footnote.
Okay. You were at the council meeting.
Here we are.
And the request was put to me that anything we send before the council, we make sure that it's clearly stated. It's
going to be attached. The tables will be attached, so they'll understand.
If we could just make sure that portion is also highlighted, so
Okay.
there is no question as to what we're doing.
Okay.
Don't point at Miss June. Lance, that's you're responsible.
And I think Mr. James Cecil is going to go before the council when this comes before it, if y'all recommend it.
O'Neill, do you need us to call for a public hearing, or are you ready for a motion?
This is the public hearing. I'm getting ready to open it up. Anyone wishing to come up and speak on this item, please come up, sign in with the secretary, and you will get your 3 minutes to speak. No one wishing to speak. Any comments or questions by commissioners?
I'll make a motion that we recommend approval of the ordinance, or move the ordinance to Parish Council.
Okay, well, I'll entertain that motion. I'd kind of like to ask what was the wish of the commission first, though.
It's Valentine's Day.
I have a motion to approve by Julio Dumas.
A second.
Second by Paige Becknell. Is there any opposition or discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to say something about it. All the rest of the lots are facing the street, and that's usually where the setback is. It's the side street or the side of it that you could reduce it down 1/2 of the 25 to give you 12.5 feet there. It would be actually better if you're going looking down the street. You're going to see these ones sitting up there on the street at the corners, but the rest of them are going to be back 25 feet.
Okay. Lance, would you like to? Yeah, I kind of like to get some rebuttal from Lance.
I guess kind of explaining it, it's going to be usually the last lot in the subdivision if it's in a T turnaround. So if the other ones are a little further up when you're going down, I don't think you're going to be blocking anything. The other thing is going to be dealing with double frontage or on corner lots, and the front of the house is going to be 25 feet. It's going to be the side of the home that will be basically moved.
I was making sure that was the way it was going to be.
Correct. And then on your cul-de-sacs, well, everyone would just move in.
Any other discussion? Any opposition? Motion passes. Item 9, any items of new business to be brought up by commissioners? Item 10, we have no old business. Item 11, Julio, you're going to give the subcommittee report?
In the subcommittee report, we discussed some definitions for some signages, and And we're going to distribute those and discuss them at the next meeting to present to you guys.
Okay. Item 12.
Adjournment. Move to adjourn.
I have a motion by Julio Dumas to adjourn, seconded by Scott Courtwright. Is there any opposition or discussion? Motion passes.
Why was this in the packet?